pushing through. That is so important. And when we talk about pushing through, does pushing through mean to break down that wall, break down that barrier by all costs, or does it mean doing it in a strategic way, in a healthy way? Can you expand on that?
Um, it means make a plan. I mean, you should always have a plan A and a plan B.
Welcome to the Radiance Unbroken podcast, where we celebrate women and their accomplishments, and we talk to them about their barriers, things that they've gone through in life, and how they have overcome and become successful. And they also display and talk about their gratitude. Today, we are going to speak with a young lady who is going to tell her story of how she was born and raised in a household of pastors, the PK's kid, and how she basically became an adult or as a young woman left home and started her life and became very successful. Curtrina Burnett. Welcome, Curtrina.
Why, thank you.
All right, so we're just going to start by talking about your origin story, Tina. And so we do call you Tina for short. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, thanks. We're just going to have a nice conversation basically about, like I said, everything that you are ready to expose and give us those secrets and tips on how to be a brilliant woman. Mm-hmm. So let's start with your origin story. Tell me a little bit about you and a little bit about your childhood and where you came from.
Well, I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I have 3 sisters. I was, raised with both parents. They were married our whole time. Went to private schools, and I went to a public school. It was a college prep program, Martin Luther King High School. Graduated with good grades. Went on to go to beauty college, beauty school. Didn't finish, ended up having a child, my senior year of high school. I ended up stopping beauty school to work and make money to raise my child, and but I still did hair on the side. I did have the love of doing hair, so I continued to do hair, but still I would work on the side. I ended up relocating from Detroit, Michigan to Columbus, Ohio. In that process, I did start to work in banking. So I was working in banking and also doing hair on the side still. Mm-hmm. In the meanwhile, I relocated to Columbus, Ohio. So I still had that love for hair, but in that process, I realized that hair really wasn't the thing for me because I really wasn't a people person.
Okay. Wasn't a people person?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to have to dive a little bit more into that. I don't know if you're ready to tell that part, or if you just want to tell us more about the, where you stopped. You said you were doing hair, and then you weren't a people person. Tell us a little bit more. Dive a little deeper into that.
The people person part, I think just dealing with different personalities on that close, intimate basis of dealing with people in that intimate moment of doing hair, and then having people, not working in the shop and having different people come into your home. I think I just didn't like that environment. And then also, I think just with me, I was a banker, a teller in retail. So I'm dealing with people in the branches. Then I'm dealing with people coming into my home doing hair. And it was just too much people.
Woo. Okay. People.
So then I said, something, this is just too much. I think I'm going to let this hair thing go. And so I let the hair thing go. And then I just focused on the banking. And I love the banking. I ended up transferring to a branch in Columbus, Ohio, and the branch I transferred to was a beautiful network community of women, and we were a big family. And I ended up connecting with the people there, and we worked together for many years together. And I blossomed there, and I went from a teller to a skills coach, which is skills coach is someone who trains new tellers, and I would train new tellers, and I got so good at it, so I became one of the top skills coaches in the region, and I would go from training one teller to 2 to 3 to 4 tellers at one time. And then I went from that to being a team leader, where I was a team leader at a branch. And then I went from that to almost being like a branch manager, and that's when I said, I didn't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like babysitting grown kids.
Oh well. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started, and a lot of the people I was working with, we were starting to leave and go different places, and so the family that I had started to split up.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Now, I'm glad you took us, through that journey right there about your profession and how you started off. Now, you did mention that you had 4 sisters or 3 sisters, correct? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you got pregnant and then had a baby and then moved away. Tell me, so what amped you or made you want to move away from your family?
I had a boyfriend, and he had a family that lived in Ohio. And so I went with him to visit the family in Ohio. And when we went to visit for like a weekend, it was just very different and nice. And I was like, that was just so refreshing, that change of environment. And I was like, I wouldn't mind a change. That change was just so refreshing. I was like, that was really nice. I wouldn't mind a change in my life. Mm-hmm. And so we both were like, let's do it. Let's do a change.
Okay. And so how do you feel the family dynamics? Because I know family is key to you. And did it seem as if you were going to lose part of you by moving away? Tell me a little bit about that.
At that moment, I wasn't thinking about that part of losing a part of me moving away, because it was only a couple hours away.
Okay.
It wasn't like I was moving across country. It was only 3.5 hours away. So it's like, okay, I'm only a drive away. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
So so that wasn't the problem. It was like, okay, I'm just gonna be a couple hours away. No biggie. So we made that move, and it was, I think it was one of the best moves I made, because we were there for a little over 20 years. We bought our first home, we got married, and we stayed in that house that we bought for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And we built our life there with our 2 kids.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And I just want to go back a little bit. I know I keep talking about these sisters. Mm-hmm. Now, so you had 3 sisters. You all were very close. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like that bond was broken, or do you feel like that bond was strengthened when you did leave Detroit to move away?
I don't think it was broken. I don't think it was broken or strengthened. I mean, we're still very close. So I think that if anything, it probably strengthened it because of the distance. We figured out other ways to make it work, especially with the new technologies.
Oh, absolutely.
you got the Apple phones, you got the messengers, you got the FaceTimes, you got all these different things now that you can do. And we're very close, and we're very strong women. And we stay in touch, and we share everything with each other, and the important things that we need to share with each other anyways. And so I think it's strengthened our relationships with each other because we're strong women. Our parents raised us to be strong,
Okay.
and so I think it's strengthened us, if anything.
Okay. Because I'm looking at, you mentioned something about, so you had this good relationship with your sisters, so that was your bond right there. And then you broke away or you moved away.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of like that sister bond was still there, but it was more at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that you were doing hair and then the people aspect. You didn't want to have an intimate contact with people doing hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to correlate a lot of that. Were your sisters like more, did you feel more comfortable being with your sisters?
Mm-hmm.
And were you the type of person that had a lot of friends? Tell me more a little bit about that.
No. I would say I had friends, but it's kind of hard because I had friends, but I was kind of quiet.
Okay.
And I was kind of in a shell and still learning who I was.
Okay.
And so I would say that in my journey, I found who I was and I became who I am.
Ooh. Okay.
Because in the beginning, I was this quiet, timid person who a lot of people would run over me. And I was this quiet, timid person who sat back and just, would just watch and just listen and didn't say a lot, and just watched. And, a lot of times people take that as weakness. And then I had to learn how to start to speak up for myself. And so once I kind of broke away and I had to start standing up for myself,
Okay.
I got this voice and I learned how to pretty much, become who I am.
Okay. And take us to that moment when you said you had to defend yourself.
I don't even know when that time was, to tell you the truth. I just remember being this timid person who always sat back and let people run all over me. And then all of a sudden I became this person that stood up for herself.
Okay.
And I couldn't even tell you when that break came, but I know it came sometime in the time where everything changed.
Okay. And so thinking back and reflecting on your childhood, did any of your childhood have anything to do with you being this people pleaser and then waking up? So tell me a little bit about the people pleasing part.
Yeah, growing up, probably being a people pleaser. Yeah, probably the way I was raised, just being a people pleaser and just being quiet and just observing and sitting back and just, sit back, be quiet, don't say anything, and
Woo.
be a good girl.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And was that really you being that good girl? Or did you have so much more that you wanted to show the world?
I had a lot more I want to show the world. Because I am a strong, boastful, happy, fun lively person, really. I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I also am a person who is a person who can be, doesn't need to be around people all the time as well. So I am both. Like, I'm a person who can stay at home and doesn't need to be around people all the time as well. So I am both. But I don't have to be a people pleaser all the time. I mean, it's a give and take in life.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be just one person pleasing people all the time.
Exactly. Because I'm trying to remember this timeline that you're taking us on. So you then you finally moved to Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you when you moved to Ohio?
I was, I believe, 19 or 20. I believe 19.
Wow. Was this your first time being away from, like, out of your parents' home?
Of course. No.
Okay.
No. I had moved out at one point. I did move out at one point.
Okay.
In Detroit for a couple of months. And that didn't work. And then I moved back home.
Okay.
And then I had moved at one point to Atlanta and then came back.
Okay.
Because I didn't like it there. So I had been away before.
Okay. And so you were just trying, like you said, to find yourself, to find who you were.
Yeah, and trying to figure out, what I needed, because when I moved to Atlanta, I was moved with my son's father to see if maybe I should be with him for my son, see if that should work, maybe I need to try to work it out with him.
Okay.
And I didn't love him, so that didn't work. So
Okay.
I came back home.
All right. Gotcha.
I was trying to do it for my son.
And when you said you came back home, you came back to Michigan.
Yes, and back to the parents' home.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Back to the parents' home. How did that work out?
I mean, it was back to the parents' home, for a little bit.
Were you able to be that woman that you had become when you left and went away? Or when you went back home, was it like you basically were back and you had to be accountable for what you were doing and you had to really listen to your parents? Or tell us a little bit about that story.
They were just happy I was back home.
Okay.
Yeah, they were just happy I was back home.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you would still be able to find yourself there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't think they wanted to push me to where I would leave again. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's dive a little deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the parents drove you. Okay, come on, drove her to leave. Okay, we're uncovering some things here. Tell us a little bit about how your childhood was that would make you want to leave.
We just had a kind of a strict home, so where they didn't want us to do a lot of things that other kids couldn't do, because it was a Christian home. So, they didn't want us to listen to certain musics and watch certain things, and wear certain clothes, or act certain ways and stuff like that, or hang with certain people. So so you get curious and you want to, you want to hang with your friends, and you want to have fun with you want to do normal things with your friends, like normal kids.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gathering that you said you were sheltered?
Yes, sheltered. Yeah, that's the word for it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you think that was needed for you at the time?
At the time, no, you don't feel like it's needed because you're a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
When you're smaller, you don't know any better.
Okay.
So, it's easy because you're a child. But once you become a teenager, it's kind of hard.
Okay. All right.
It's really hard because you want to be a normal teenager like everybody else.
Yeah, I get that. And I too was in a strict household, so I understand that. And when you're following the path or the rules of a strict household, you are kind of going by the beat of their drum. and then you really don't find yourself until you leave.
Yeah.
All right, and so let's fast forward a little bit. So you left Detroit, and then you finally moved to Ohio after you came back from Atlanta. All right, and then so tell us, when you did land in Ohio, your new hometown, how did you feel as a woman?
In the beginning, it was exciting and a little bit scary because you're away from everybody and you're away from your family. It's something new, but you're also excited because you're like, wow, I'm doing this, and you're just ready to get everything in order. So you're excited and you're scared at the same time. But once you get everything in order, it's like, okay, you're excited. And once everything got in order and you start meeting friends and you get settled in, it's pretty good. But then you have your ups and then your downs. When you have your downtown times, it's like, you wish you had your family or somebody there to support you during your downtowns. So you go through your ups and your downs.
Okay. And so you say you were finding yourself. All right. Now tell us a little bit about those downtimes where you knew you needed the support, but you didn't have it.
Say if you were having a bad day. Or say if you got into an argument with your boyfriend. Or say if your child was sick. Any of those things. Or just say you just wake up in a bad mood. And then you call your mom or your dad or a sibling, and then you talk to them just to help to get you through that tough day.
Okay. Now, having that support a phone call away instead of physically, in person, how did that make your spirits and your drive? Did that alter it?
It would help. It may not have been as helpful as in person, but I mean, that's as good as it could get at that time. So then you would have to wait till like a weekend or something, and then you can make a weekend trip back home.
Okay, all right. And I'm thinking now about your mom. You said you were raised by pastors, and you were raised in a household with a mom and a dad. Tell us a little bit about how that upbringing shaped you as a woman, and how it basically set up your journey to success.
I would say it wasn't a bad thing. I wouldn't say it was a horrible thing, because like I said, we had good upbringing. It's just that the sheltering, too much sheltering and some of the strictness can push a child to certain boundaries to where they're gonna, want or do things that you're not gonna want them to do. But on the same note, we had a good upbringing with, education. We weren't hungry. We were well taken care of. We lived in nice home. Well dressed, well mannered, things like that.
And did that guide you to, like, on your journey? Did you, because you said you were trying to find yourself, so you know that you were going to be successful? Did you know that you were going to be like a manager over
Yes.
a financial institute? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So, I wanted to be like my mom. So she was an accountant. So I wanted to be an accountant.
Aw, awesome.
So I knew I wanted to do something similar to her. Now, when I was smaller, I said I wanted to be a teacher, but that kind of went out the window. And as I got older, I was like, I want to be an accountant. So I didn't become an accountant, but I did go into banking.
Okay. And now baking, you do deal with a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
and you told me you didn't want that intimate connection
Mm-hmm.
with the public.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me how, as a banker, you were able to navigate away from that intimate interaction with people.
So I did those 10 years in retail. After the team lead situation and being a team lead, dealing with grown children, and it's amazing how grown people can really, act like grown children. And I'm like, I can get, if anybody, if I lose my job, it's going to be because of me, not because of another person. So I said, I started to get the tension. It was a lot of tension. My manager, he wasn't a good manager.
Okay.
He would go MIA, and our district manager, he would start to come down on me. And so since my manager was MIA, my district manager wanted me to kind of step in and start doing manager role things because he wasn't there. And so it was putting so much stress on me, I would physically get sick in the mornings as I would get ready for work.
That stress will do that.
So my mentor told me, when you get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
it's time for you to figure out what you want to do next.
Ooh.
So I started to look for job postings, and I saw something that really struck me that I really wanted to do in operations, and I applied for it and I got it. And I've been in operations ever since. And so I don't have to deal with the general public, and I have not dealt with the general public in I've been with the bank going on 29 years, and over 19 years.
Okay. All right.
This episode is sponsored by Aryze, where we help women who are carrying the weight of work, family, and expectations reconnect with their bodies and their truth. If stress has been showing up as headaches, exhaustion, or feeling disconnected from yourself, you don't have to push through it alone. Schedule your discovery call today at Aryze and start feeling like you again.
Well, let's talk a little bit about stress, because we always want to give everybody a picture or this kind of like a summary of how it is to be a mom, how to be a wife, or be in a relationship and have all these responsibilities. And then you have the stressors of your career.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell that young, inspiring woman how to navigate those issues of stress when they found that profession or that business that they've always, dreamt about?
How to navigate the stress?
Yes.
If they found that business that they always dreamt about. To step back, really think about if this is really what you want to do. Step back, make your game plan, think it all out, and make sure this is something you really, really want to do. Make sure that your game plan is really tight. Everything is written out perfectly. Everything is really set out to work out perfectly. Make sure you got a team. Make sure make sure your plan is set in place to where you're not going to fail.
Okay. And so you mentioned a mentor.
Yeah.
So you had a mentor
I
when
did.
you got assigned to this position or this role?
I had a mentor when I was in retail.
Okay. And did they kind of prepare you for a higher position?
My mentor was someone who guided me when I wanted to become a team lead. I followed her wherever she went in retail. Like I looked up to her, and so I always asked her for advice. And so mentors are very important as well. So I would say, if you are looking to start a business, if you have someone who is already in that business or someone who is successful in that business, you might want to reach out to them and see if they can be your mentor.
That's good. And I agree. Mentors are key because they, like you said, have already walked that walk and talked that talk, and now they can give you the tips and help you get there quicker to where your goals, your professional goals. Now tell me, how did you navigate being a wife, being a mother, and seeking out this higher position? How did you navigate all that? Because with that, like you said, comes stress, but how did you navigate that as a woman with all those responsibilities?
Jesus Christ.
Come on. Okay, tell us a little bit more about Jesus Christ. How did he help you?
My mama was praying for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my mama was praying for me. And I was praying as well. Because it was a lot. Because I was young. I was married by the age of 23. I was married and with 2 kids. My first house and a job at a bank, and it was a lot. But I made it through. And what made me get through is I'm not a quitter.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I believe in God. And I pray, and I do not give up. And when things get tough, I pray about it, and I put it in His hands, and I keep pushing through.
Pushing through.
You should always have a plan A and a plan B, and be praying at the same time. And you should always be working through those plans. You can't sit on your butt and think it's gonna work itself.
Come on.
You gotta do the work. Ain't nobody gonna do it for you.
Did you all hear that? Do the work.
Nobody's gonna do it for you.
Wow. Now tell me a little bit about mindset though, because you seem like you say you were this timid young lady who was, quiet, do as I say, you did that, and then you became this kind of like a total 360, and you became more boisterous and more opinionated in how you felt.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us more about how you actually got there. And because you were quiet, you were timid, you were saying yes to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What was the light switch that went off that made you say, wait a minute, today is the day?
When I moved out on my own to a whole new state and had to learn how to stand on my own 2 feet, and I knew I had to become, I had to become a strong woman, because being this timid person was not gonna work.
Okay.
A timid person is gonna get ran all over, and I got tired of people taking my kindness for weakness. And so once I seen that the kindness for weakness wasn't working, then I turned into this other person, and it was working.
Okay. And was it easy to maneuver being the mother, the wife, the employee trying to get to that higher level? Was it easy to maneuver that? Did you have a system in place to get you through?
I didn't have a system to get me through. It's almost like I just automatically just transformed. I can't even explain.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I just knew I had to do it. It's just like an automatic switch cut on. It's just something I knew I had to do.
And what about the responsibilities for like with the children and with being a wife? How were you very organized, or
Very
did you
organized.
have a calendar system? You gotta have some tips, I'm sure.
I was organized. I had teamwork with my husband, of course. You know, we had a system. So, you know, I would drop off, he would pick up, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We had a teamwork between the two of us.
Okay.
And between the two of us, we made it work.
So teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay. Okay.
It was the two of us. I mean, we both relocated and we both knew we had to make it work.
Or else you could sink.
Yep.
Okay. That makes so much sense. And just tell us a little bit now about how you maneuver stress today. Because that was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You say you've been at the bank for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So tell me, as Curtrina now,
Mm-hmm.
how do you deal with stress different than you did in the past?
Stress now. Now I work from home.
Okay.
Back then I went from working in a branch to working in operations where I was in these big corporate buildings to now I'm working behind a computer at home. So it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So the stress levels are a little bit different
Mm-hmm.
because I'm dealing with, I'm stressed, but I don't have to deal with the stress with them in my face.
Okay. Okay. So not direct face to face.
Exactly.
And tell me about some of the regimens. Like, tell me about your sleep, because, you know, with the women that are stressed out or they have a lot on their plate, a lot of responsibilities of life. Tell me your regimen, like your sleep, your activities of daily living. Like, do you work out? Do you do self-care?
So I do deal with my stress by a lot of times when I'm stressed out, I have a really stressful day. As soon as I log off my computer, I will get my gym bag and I will go to the gym.
Okay, working out.
And I will go to that gym and I will get on that treadmill. And that will relieve my stress.
Okay, and when you're on that treadmill, are you like,
was
a day, my God.
I put my headphones on and I put my music on, and that will relieve my stress.
Okay, okay. And so you say working out relieves your stress.
Working
and then
out.
what about like, so for me, relieving my stress is like doing self-care outings, going to the art galleries, you know, going to the museum, going, you know, to concerts, live jazz, or going by the water. Tell us a little bit about, besides working out, because that's key to get that body in shape and that mindset. So what else do you do?
Well, a couple times, you know, when the family, my son or husband,
Okay.
when they see that I'm tensed or stressed, they'll surprise me and they'll take me to my favorite restaurant or surprise me and take me to a movie or something like that.
Okay.
They'll do that for me. But other than that, usually if I have a tense, stressful day, I'll go to the gym.
Okay.
And that's key because a lot of times tension brings me headaches. And
okay.
going to the gym a lot of times will release that tension.
And that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about your mindset. How has your mindset changed from that little girl that was, you know, who didn't know who she was to how you are today? Tell us a little bit about mindset and how it got you to your success today.
Well, that mindset, let me tell you, it has broadened my horizons because I went from this timid little girl to this woman who has relocated 2 times. She has relocated from Detroit, Michigan to Columbus, Ohio. And I always said, one day I want to relocate to Florida because every time I went to Florida, I never wanted to leave. And now I live in Florida. And I will be in Florida for 4 years. And that is a dream that I may come true. So I would say that it has turned me into a woman who, when she says she gonna do something, she gonna do it.
Ooh. So you know what? When you talk about that, that makes me think about fearless. What would you say to that woman who wants to make that jump but is afraid? What would you say about fear and how to get her out of that?
I would say, don't let fear hold you back in life because you only got one life to live, and one day you're gonna be gone. So do it while you're here.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. And Curtrina, tell us a little bit of what being safe feels like to you.
What's being safe feels like to me?
Yeah, and it within yourself.
Being safe within myself. I would say being safe within myself. Doing things that are not out of character for me. I would say that's what's being safe. Things that are not out of character.
And tell us a little bit about what brings you joy being in this place of, let's see, this place of safety. What brings you joy now?
What brings me joy? Simple things. Just going to the beach. Just spending the day with the family. Just having a relaxing day, just not doing anything, not having anything planned, just having a nice, relaxing day at home, just a nice, just day of no drama and just relaxation. Just a day of peace. Just a peaceful, relaxing day with happiness and no drama.
No drama.
That's what makes me happy.
Good. And do you think that drama, you try to stay away from it? Do you try to avoid it? And does that make you this person who doesn't like being with the public a lot? So do you see that as being maybe in this space of avoiding people because you don't want to even encounter that kind of feeling?
No. I don't allow drama in my life because I don't allow dramatic people to bring it in.
Okay.
So if I know you're a dramatic person or you're a person who is messy or you're just one of those people who always bring in drama, you can stay over there.
So you know how to cut relationships off. Okay. And that's key because we know relationships can drain you. Relationships can cause stressors. Then our cortisol levels, you know, I'm going to always talk about our cortisol levels. They become like crazy. And then eventually that causes our body to decline and disease to step in or illnesses. And have you ever, you told me that you got sick because of the stress. And so do you think being sick that one time or maybe multiple times and getting your headaches because of the stress, it has really allowed you to step into this place of really caring for you?
Yes. Yeah. I know how to say, pump the brakes. Even at work, I'm like, nope. Because this job is just a job. And at the end of the day, I'm just a number. And y'all not about to give me a stroke nor a headache or a heart attack. Because if I was to die today, y'all will replace my job just like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm just a number.
Wow. And do you think, have you ever been in a depressed state as it relates to your workplace and the stressors? Has it ever brought you down to the point where you said, forget being in the financial institution industry?
Um, no, no. I mean, I've been to the point where I'd be like, I'm ready to tell them, you can keep this, you can keep this job.
Oh my goodness.
I'm about to,
Okay.
you know, give y'all 2 weeks, or not even 2 weeks. But yeah, never that. I'd be ready to quit, but never depressed like I don't want to be here no more.
No, yeah, not like that. But you said a job. I might think about another profession. Or
Another
location.
profession.
Yeah.
Now I wish I could have like my own business to where I didn't have to work for the bank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, because it do get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out, but yeah, but I do. Sometimes I do say, I wish I could start my own something so I could just say bye bye.
Okay. And so what would that be? Would it be?
I don't know.
You don't know yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I'm really, really like asking God, like, what is it that's
like what's next?
Yeah.
And how important is it, do you think, for women to do self-reflections? Like every so often, self-reflections and think about their profession, think about their life and where it's going and setting goals. Because I often teach my clients setting goals is key. Because you don't want to just be out there not knowing what your next steps are or what a few years ahead of you, what you want it to look like.
I think setting goals and self-reflection is key. I just don't know when in life is the time you need to do it. Because I think right now, I'm in that place.
Okay, now it's in that time. So how often do you do self-reflections?
I do it a lot now.
Okay.
I do, because I'm in that place where I'm like, I'm kind of burnt out. I'm not kind of, I am burnt out.
Okay, you are.
Because it's been 29 years in banking.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
And it's not in the same role. I've been all over the bank in different positions, but in the position I'm in right now, it'll be 6 years here in another couple months, and I'm burnt out.
Okay. And then how important are boundaries to you?
They're very important.
How so? How so? Please tell me.
Don't cross those boundaries.
So tell me just, it sounds like you're very strict with boundaries or you're very stern with them. Tell us of like maybe 2 of your boundaries that you have.
Well, what do you mean? What kind of boundaries are we talking about?
Well, I'm talking about life boundaries with people so that you can have a nice day or so that you can be efficient in taking care of your family and being a mother, being a professional, taking care of your body. What kind of boundaries do you have?
So, I would say like with the people at work, the boundaries is I'm not doing no extra.
Okay.
When 4 o'clock hit, I'm out because I'm salary and I don't get paid overtime. So that's my boundary.
Okay, so that's a professional boundary.
Yeah.
And then what about at home? Because sometimes being a wife, being a mother, sometimes those roles can have this overwhelming feeling and you still have to be able to take care of you first so that you can be efficient. So tell me about that.
At home with my son and my husband. When I get burnt out of cooking and I'm tired and I'm just burnt out and I just don't feel like it, I don't feel like it.
Okay.
So y'all either figure it out or we eat now.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like it.
And how important, can you speak to that woman who feels like she has to take on everything, put everything on her plate and do it all? What could you tell her about boundaries or what advice would you give her?
Create boundaries. Because if you don't feel like it and you're tired, you don't feel like it because you're not a robot. And when you're tired, you're tired.
And we know the consequence of not having boundaries can cause burnout. It can cause health issues. It can cause you to have resentment It can cause you to stop even loving things. And nobody wants to get to that point.
Yep.
And let's say, how important is gratitude to you?
Very important. Yeah. So, you know, my husband and my son, they appreciate me. Because right now, they wish I was home. And I can tell when I talk to them.
That's nice.
And like I said, when they see I'm stressed out at work, I know they appreciate me. Because they surprise me with things.
Yeah.
Like my son, he'll surprise me with flowers. And they'll surprise me and take me out to dinner and things like that. So that's the gratitude that they show.
Good. And then, so what do you do to show gratitude?
The gratitude I show is, I take good care of them. You know, I'm doing laundries. I'm cooking good meals.
Good meals.
Good meals. Good meals. You know, I even make plates for them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I make plates for them. You know, after long days of work, I'll be like, you ready to eat? And, if when they in the shower or something, and they get out the shower, I'll make them a plate. That's gratitude and appreciation I'll show after a long day's work.
Yeah. And what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for family. I'm grateful for still being here on this earth to be able to witness and experience today with you guys. Because, I didn't have to be here.
Absolutely.
But he allowed me to be here.
Wow.
So I'm just grateful that I was able to make it. And I'm grateful to be here on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And, so we do speak to so many women, and I want to thank you and I want to celebrate you because you have just really evolved over the years and become that woman that you were searching for, and you found her, and you learned how to maneuver the stresses of life, and put everything in this organized fashion. And that's key. That's key, being able to get to that safe place. And we all want to feel safe inside. We all want to be able to say, okay, whew, I'm here. I'm back to who I know. Because we want to feel like ourselves again. Because I hear so many women who say they don't even know who they are anymore. Have you ever been there?
Yeah. A few years ago, I was like, I was there.
And how did you get out of that place?
I don't even know how I got out of that place.
Really?
Probably prayer.
Okay.
Going to the gym, just spending more time on myself.
Yeah. And don't you think just being with yourself is key?
Yeah.
Because when we have all those responsibilities, sometimes you're like, when you finally get that quiet place, and it could be even going to the bathroom, the restroom, you're like, ah. But just to be able to be with yourself and get to know yourself, it's so important as women.
Yeah.
So we can keep going. It's kind of like a refueling.
Yeah.
Like a reboot.
Yeah. I think once my last one graduated high school and everything, and everything settled, I was able to find myself.
Okay.
But when it was still hustling, bustling, and I was a Uber and all this and that, it was like, who am I?
Yeah. Well, before we leave, I just want to first of all thank you so much for spending some time with us and telling us your story and how you made it over those hard times and you made it to the light, basically. And now you're going to have another leveling up when you figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And so, can you just speak to that young woman or that woman in her, mid-age woman who is really seeking the next step of her life? Can you just give her some advice on how to move forward instead of being stagnant?
I would say think what you really want to do and move forward. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, you probably want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do this, that, and the other. Find out what you really, really want to do right now and work on that first. Work on that first. And make a plan. Plan A, plan B. Find a mentor. Ask the mentor for guidance. Work on that plan. Don't give up. Do the work. Do the research. Pray about it. Don't give up. You can do it. Push through it.
Woo! Come on.
You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there.
You can do it.
And just pushing through, having the right mindset. And I want to thank you so much for sharing that with a lot of women out there who may be stuck. And for the women out there, if you are stuck or if you feel overwhelmed, you can find some resources in the links. And also you can reach out to Dr. Indea at Aryze Well. And until next time, I would challenge you to reflect on how you can move forward. What your next steps are. What plan are you making for your life? And doing the research. And also considering a mentor, like Curtrina mentioned. And you know what? We are here to support you. And until we meet again, have your mind, body, and appetite on point. And thank you for watching and listening to Radiance Unbroken.